Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another beautiful garden tour. It is the end of June 2023 and there's a lot going on out in the garden, and I'm really excited to take you around today to look at everything, look at some new developments, more vegetables, and everything that's coming in at the end of June 2023. So let's get started. Okay, so excuse the loud noises in the background. My neighbors are redoing their backyard, and I don't know what they're doing over there, but it is loud. Anyway, so we're starting off like we always do at the patio. These strawberries, they've been doing pretty well. I picked a few off this morning for my breakfast and they were delicious. And then as you can see, this beautiful lavender is blooming for us. I'm a little concerned. The leaves are a little pale, but it seems to be, it smells beautiful and the bees love it. So I'm gonna do a little more research on how to care for these. As you know, in another identical pot, the other one died and it was the same variety. So I'm thinking I might take it out, add a little bit more, like a little bit of pebbles or gravel at the bottom to help with drainage as well. And maybe give it a little bit of fertilizer so it will continue to blossom for me year after year, because I love having lavender off the patio. I think it, you know, every now and then when the wind blows right, you get a little whiff of it and it's so gorgeous. And then the zinnias are popping off over here still, and I keep picking them because I'm hoping that more blooms will come the more that I pick. So I've made a few little bouquets. I've got that orange one back there. It's not doing great. So I need to trim these two blooms off. There, I can see another little bud starting to appear. So, but you know, that got attacked by slugs earlier in the season. So the fact that it's even blooming is exceptional to me. All right, my camera battery died. I got cut off, but I'm really excited to see what color this calendula is. It's looking beautiful, and I'm just so excited for it to bloom. And then still have a ton of blueberries, but none of them have started changing color yet. So I'm hoping with some more warm weather, we've been having actually a very cool June, which is not normal, but this plant has quite a few, so I'm excited for those to come in. Cosmos are starting, different varieties. Yarrow is starting to bloom that I've left. I kind of like it, so I might leave some for next year too. I'm sure that even if I thought that I pulled out everything, that it would still come back, because it's actually been kind of invasive in my garden. So this is that dahlia, one of the dahlias that we transplanted from my dad's yard, and it bounced back really lovely. So I'm hoping that we'll get some blooms later this summer here. I don't remember what color or what variety this is, but my dad had beautiful dahlias last summer, so I'm very excited for that to come. We've got some more calendula down here. As you can see, I love calendula. A ton of taller cosmos coming in. All started from seed. And then this is my echinacea, and it's starting to form some blooms on this plant here. And I've got this one here, and then there's one back here as well. And it looks like the dahlia that we transplanted back here has perked up as well, so that's exciting. I think my chamomile is on its way out. I need to trim all those off to see if I can get some more blooms, like encourage it to bloom some more. Beautiful California poppies here coming in. This lovely orange variety of Cosmo. It's the first year I've grown it, and I am very pleased. So I've just been kind of in this area, whenever I deadhead, been like dropping dropping the seed head, you know, around so that maybe I'll get some volunteer cosmos next year. This is oregano, and it's loving this pot. I did plant some seeds of other kinds of herbs here. None of them sprouted at all. So I'm thinking this, I'm just going to let this oregano take over this pot here. Isn't this a lovely, this is a seashell cosmo, and these, they're like little holes into the petals, and it's just such a fun, it's such a fun flower to look at, and I'm so excited that I picked those up this year as well. Then down in this pot, I planted a bunch of zinnia, and I also planted some container variety of lupin. But really, I think all I can see really is zinnias coming up, which I'm not sad about. But I do, actually, there is a little bit of lupin action here. They don't look like they're thriving as well as these zinnias. So that was just an experiment to see how they would do, but who knows? I might try just lupin in here next year, or maybe I'll just put zinnias back in here. Our sage is looking really nice. This one is almost done flowering. As you can see, the beautiful purple blooms. The bees love it. Our garlic chives are going strong. Some more beautiful California poppies coming in among calendula. More calendula here. I actually have a bloom on here that's beautiful. Oh, I love them. I love them. And then there's actually a marigold down here too. But we have a few more cosmos in here. Chamomile that needs to again be trimmed to see if I can encourage more blooms. So this is also one of the dahlias that I transplanted, and he has not perked up, so I don't know if I'm going to get anything from that guy this year, but I am going to mark it just so I know where it is. Maybe I'll trim the foliage off. It might be better for it. And then if you come around here on this side of the peonies that I've fully deadheaded, these are done. I leave the greens up for as long as they're green so that they'll put more energy into their root system, so I'll get more beautiful blooms next year. But underneath them are these beautiful anemones. I've never grown these before. I bought that 50% off pack from the hardware store, and these are the only ones that have come up, and look at how beautiful they are. I'm so pleased with these, and they're a perfect little addition to this spot that actually has a lot of weeds. But I planted a calendula here. There's some lilies here that don't do that great because I think the poppy plants like really overcrowd them. I'm gonna have to see. I bought some plant supports for next year so that I can like be preemptive with it. So hopefully these lilies can grow up taller. But yeah, everything in this area I'm very pleased with, actually. I love the variety of flowers that I have, and the yarrow is looking really good. I planted some daylilies from my dad's yard on the outskirts of these. These were here when we bought the house, but I think it's just going to add a lot of really fun late summer color. And I just feel like I'm going to be enjoying this area all summer long. So now we're going to come back over to our vegetable patch. Look, these daylilies actually bloomed, and I'm so excited. They are hanging a little bit over the path, but you know what? I don't mind pushing them aside to go by, but I'm so excited that they are blooming, and they look beautiful, just like I hoped they would. I still have a little bit more weeding to do in here, but I can't. I love that I put this here, and hopefully it will enjoy that spot for years to come. This lupin we transplanted still has not perked up, and you know what? I still haven't planted the one that I got from Home Depot for on clearance, so I think I'm just gonna rip this out and put that here in this spot because I really need to get it out into the ground. The one from Home Depot. But we have this lovely lily coming up. I think it's a beautiful white color, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I just love having it here. There used to be a bunch in here, but as you can see, like, it's hard to pull weeds and like grass roots without pulling bulbs. So I've been really trying to like be careful when I go in here. But yeah, I've got a ton of clover in there, which is okay for the bees. But I want my chives to thrive still, so I need to get in here and like weed around it. Like I said in my last video, I think I want to do like a defined edge here to help it out, but we'll see. And then we have this blueberry plant as well. Looks like we have a few starting to change colors on this one, which is very exciting. But yeah, look at how lush everything is here. I'm very pleased this year. Got this lovely little lavender down here still that's gonna get choked out with grass if I don't get in here. Lots of chores to do, never ending during the summer, but I don't mind. I just love it. Our rosemary bush has got a lot of new growth on it. That's been in this pot probably since the first year that we were here, so about 7 years. And there's times where I'm like, oh my god, should I like replace it? Because it's a little woody, but it comes back every summer beautifully. And yeah, I like it. I like having it here. And then my little herb area here, this mint is doing fantastic. Since we transplanted these little guys, they've multiplied. They've gotten so much bigger. I think they love having the space, so that's very exciting for me. I've got, oops, I don't want to shadow it, some more chive blossoms coming from this plant, but I think I need to just trim it down because it's looking a little sad. But this variegated oregano is doing great. The thyme here that I've transplanted, I mean, it looks so much healthier, and so do both of these. I'm shocked. I've never been able to have lemon thyme this healthy before at this stage, and it's very exciting. The thyme here is looking, actually this one actually doesn't look that great. There's a lot of weeds in here, and I feel like it's very root bound. This one looks better, and it's a larger plant, so I might just rip that one out and see how it does. But the oregano is still going strong over here. It looks like it's about to flower, which is exciting, so I need to harvest all these tall stalks so that the shorter stalks will come in and give us more oregano. And then this beautiful English thyme plant here, looking great. I love when it flowers. And then there's a volunteer calendula here too, which is about to bloom. It's going to be a beautiful orange or yellow bloom, because that's the only variety that I had in here in my raised beds last year. The savory over here in the bucket's doing beautifully. Does anyone just like come along in their herb garden and just like run their fingers through it and then smell it? Like, is that weird? It might be, but I love the scent of herbs. Speaking of herbs, my beautiful parsley that I need to start harvesting. I've harvested a little bit of it, but it's thriving in this spot. But it is kind of blocking my chili plant here, so I'm gonna want to harvest some of that. And then our cilantro has gone to seed or to flower. And I've just kept it because the bees love it, and I found so many little ladybugs on it. And, you know, why rip out a good thing, really? And hopefully I can save some of the seeds for coriander with cooking, but also to plant for next year. And then my dill has starting to flower. I love dill flowers. They're so, let me see if it'll focus for you. Nope. Will it? There we go. Look at how beautiful it is. Oh, and it smells so wonderful, and it's so tasty in salads. Love it. This bed has really exploded, like the tomatoes and the peppers anyway. We've got some beautiful marigolds down here. I've got a ton of green tomatoes, and I'm hoping with the warm weather coming up that they'll start to ripen. There's a ton dotted throughout this little patch. And then I've got a ton of blossoms here. These are a mix from the mixed chili pack. There's some jalapenos in here, banana peppers, bell peppers. My bell peppers are looking fantastic. Very healthy. They've got a lot of blossoms on them here. If you can see that. Yeah. And then this gorgeous nasturtium started blossoming just this week, or like late last week. Look at how beautiful that is. And then it's among my beans, which very excitingly I have some bean flowers. The purple beans are starting to flower, so I'm very excited for those to come in. Rattlesnakes are taking a little while to catch up, but they're starting to climb right here. And then the peas back here are doing great. Looks like there's a few that need to be harvested. I love this time of year. Love it. Also, note to self, never put, I don't know why I thought that the cucumbers would do well here behind tomato plants that I knew were going to get super tall. But I do have one cucumber down here, and there's flowers on this, or there's like little baby cucumbers on this other plant, but I don't think I'm going to get like a bounty of cucumbers this summer, which is fine. But yeah, these heirloom varieties back here of tomatoes are doing really well. And I figured like if anything, like this trellis will be good to like support those plants as well. But I did get one of these purple, it's actually built, like you can build it into like one of those square tomato cages, but they also have a configuration like this, so that's what I did. But everything is looking very healthy. There's also another calendula here, more baby dill, and I'm just really happy with how this turned out in here. And I look and I can see little tomatoes everywhere, which makes me very happy. It's my favorite thing to grow, and everything's looking super good. So now we're on the other side, the other raised bed. Some lettuce is looking really good. We probably need to pull it out soon because it's starting to like kind of head, which I didn't think that this variety did that, so I'm afraid it's going to start bolting, so I'm going to start harvesting more of that. And then there's some garlic in here that's not very big, but I did put it in very late, like early spring I planted it. And then actually there's a calla lily that comes up in here every year, so I've just left it. There's some volunteer calendula in here, my green onions, we've just started harvesting those. That basil that I picked up at the hardware store is looking very happy in this little spot. It gets good sun, but like it's dappled sun, so I think that's the perfect spot for it. These are my bush variety golden nugget tomatoes. Tons of tomatoes on there. Really hoping that they start to ripen soon. More cilantro that's gone to flower here. And if we come around, gorgeous marigolds, another beautiful nasturtium, and then lettuce that definitely needs to be thinned, and I found tons of slugs, so I really just need to get in here and because I planted 3 to a little spot, but then I did a row, and they're definitely overcrowding each other. So, but my carrots are looking fantastic. The radishes next to them are coming up. There's some larger plants down there, so I'm going to start checking for bulbs probably in the probably next week to see how it's doing. My carrots are looking fantastic. There's this tall one here in the middle that I have checked, and it's the top of it's looking pretty sizable, so we might be harvesting carrots in the near future. But yeah, and then I have this empty space that I still haven't figured out what I want to do, but it's the beginning of summer, and actually, you know what I might do? I might put some cucumber seeds. I know it's the end of June, but I might put some cucumber seeds, make a little mound and see how they do in this sunny little spot. I think I might do that. Maybe in the next video. I'll take you along for sure, but yeah. This area is just looking very pleasant. I've been weeding as I go between the rocks. I need to start filling in a little more. But yeah, you know what I would really love, because I have a creeping thyme somewhere. Oh, here. It's been taken over by weeds, but I would love to have creeping thyme everywhere in here. So I might get some more of those plants. And then I still haven't taken out this dead rhododendron, but the hostas in this area are looking beautiful. There's a lily here that's about to bloom. The violas down here look good. I'm just letting them go to seed. I want that. And then it looks like these iris that I put in are doing okay. I think that the leaf browning is normal for transplanting, but we'll see. I think my dad said irises are virtually indestructible, so fingers crossed. And then isn't this plant beautiful? It's got these beautiful dangly pink flowers that the hummingbirds love. So I really love that that's there, and I just let it get bigger and bigger. Trim it down every fall and it grows back bushier than ever. So, but everything's looking really good over here too. This is the healthiest that I've ever seen this hydrangea. So I'm glad that I finally got in there and gave it some more space. And I don't know if it's going to bloom for us this year, but hopefully next year, as long as I can keep it getting some air, I think it'll bounce back pretty well. Yeah. Grass needs to be mowed, but that can come at a later date. This little hosta looks like something attacked one of its leaves, but he's looking pretty healthy, so. Oh, it's nice under this shaded tree. It's like a beautiful canopy. One of those, I believe it's a weeping cedar we have back there. That's one of those trees with the curly trunk, and it does perfectly next to, I'm not sure what this plant is. I need to get one of those plant apps, but it does really well next to that and next to this Japanese maple. We've got some rhododendrons under here, some other plants that get berries, but everything seems to be looking really good under here. Alright, so we're going to come by the fountain that needs to be cleaned, to the squash patch. I have photos of beautiful lilies, so check out my blog post that went live today, and you can see pictures. This whole area was full of red lilies. This we transplanted together. This is another iris from my dad's yard. There's some lilies here that look like they're about to bloom. And my squash, I've still got a ton of squash flowers, male flowers, but not a lot of female flowers. But when I have had the female flowers, I've been hand pollinating to make sure I get them. I know that these still have a little bit of flowers on them, but I don't want it to go fully to seed, so I'm going to pull these foxgloves out. And I know they're probably not overcrowding these squash, but my squash looks like it's struggling, so I just want everything away, away from it. I knocked down all those mushrooms that were around, because this guy doesn't look like it's doing very well. And sadly, my golden nugget, one of them looks good. The other one, I don't know what's wrong with it. It's got 2 big leaves, and then the other leaves that are coming in are just very, they're small and they're starting to curl. So I put some fertilizer in and I've watered it in, but I gotta keep an eye on that. But the other plant has some blossoms and is looking actually very healthy. So yeah, and the hollyhocks look like they're about to come in too. There's a giant calendula back here that I started from seed, and I'm gonna let it go to seed because I don't know if you can tell, I love calendula. The daylilies I planted back here, looks like one of them's gonna bloom. The other one was just foliage, so hopefully it will just thrive a little more and we'll get some blooms off of it next year. But yeah, it's time to get in and kind of clean this area up, take out all the spent lilies, and yeah. There's some more foxgloves that are I think they're going to bloom as well. So, not worried about those. But unfortunately, after the lily, I take the spent lilies out, it just looks kind of bare here. So that's why I try and plant, calendula back here. I put the squash in the front. So I just need to try and get a better plan for this area. I would love to put a border around and build the soil up a little more too, because this is obviously in ground. But we'll see. And then everything needs to be weed whacked, but I kind of like the clovers around here for the bees. The more bees in my garden, the better. So, but everything just looks kind of magical when it's all filled in like that. And I've got my other golden nugget over here. It doesn't look as it's thriving as much as the ones over in the other bed. I'm not sure why. Last year it didn't, whatever was in this didn't do well either. And I'm thinking I need to add, I think I need to add more soil next year, take out a chunk of what's in here and add different potting mix, and then see, maybe I'll try, it could be also because I put a tomato in here every year and I know that you're supposed to rotate, so maybe I'll try a pepper in here next year. It's a perfect sunny spot for that, or even I could do a cucumber in here next year. I think I might try that. I'll have to write that down and remember it. But the marigolds look like they love it in here. A lot of these are volunteer. But this one here that's blooming, I actually started that one from my own seed, from flowers from last year. So I'm pleasantly surprised to see it doing well. But yeah, there's a ton of tomatoes on here. It's just the plant doesn't look as healthy as it could, I feel like. But I did add some fertilizer. I watered it in. So we'll see. And then over here, more calendula. And then this really beautiful little plant that gets yellow blooms. These are not the blooms. This is actually a weed. But they get these little blooms, and hopefully I'll definitely get it on video when it blooms, because it's just an adorable plant. This is actually the perfect spot for it. Gets enough shade, but it gets some sun in the afternoon, late afternoon. These calendulas seem to love it here. I did plant a sad marigold here, but he's not doing very well. But the calendula, love it. And yeah, like I said, this area, this bush is kind of out of control. And we just get a lot of weeds back here because it's just difficult to like want to get up on the wall and go back there. I need to rip out these old hyacinth, like they're spent leaves. Again, I like to leave these for as long as they want to be here, and then I feel like that gives more energy to the blooms for next year. So as long as they want to stay green, I'll keep them here, but it looks like they're starting to turn brown, so I'm going to probably rip these out in the next week or so. This is actually ground cover that's starting to spread to the yard. I'm not sad about it. And then our beautiful little lavender patch here, and then a gorgeous clematis that has started flowering. Oh, look at them. So beautiful. I love the pale purple. Love it. Now we're over in my problem child raised bed. Everything here just looks kind of sad, except for actually the chamomile looks pretty good. I need to, again, harvest more of that. Strawberries, there's a few blooms, but it's not doing that great. I only have like 2 good pea plants for some reason, and unfortunately it's the ones that I bought from the hardware store. Looks like there's a few to harvest here, but the ones that I started from seed are just very stunted. I direct sowed in this bed. I've added Moodoo to this bed, but there's like no life in the soil. The carrots are super stunted. The kale seems to do okay. And then this lettuce finally is getting a little bit bigger. But my sweet peas that I started direct sown, some of them are looking pretty good, and I think I might actually get my first sweet pea shoots that I've ever had, or sweet pea flowers that I've ever had. But yeah, as you can see, it gets sun in the morning. It's about, I actually don't really know what time it is. I think it's around noon, probably closer to 1 o'clock. So this tree that's above us starts shading it, which I think for the sweet peas, that's perfect. I don't know. I water this area really well. But there's like no worms in the soil. Like I dig, which is sad for me. And I think I need to like do some more soil regeneration or soil generation in here. Add a bunch of potting mix, add some compost, kind of revamp the top layer and see what I can do. And then this fall, I think I'm going to put a layer of leaves, like a mulch layer all over, so they can break down. And we'll see how it goes. Because I really want stuff to be able to grow here. It's like a nice extra spot to have without having to take up lawn space. So, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, and gardening's all about learning, so we'll see what I can do. And then over in this spot, we've got some irises, but next to them are the gladiolus bulbs that I planted, and they are looking really healthy. And I'm hoping in the next few weeks they will give us some blooms. There's some that I planted out front that looks just as good, so I'm excited for those too. If you can peek, there's a little Cosmo down there. I did spread some more seeds in this area, but I only see a few little sprouts, so I think maybe the birds got to it. There's calendula here, a Cosmo here that's looking really healthy, some zinnias that are thriving, beautiful orange cosmos. Some of my wildflowers have started blooming, some sweet alyssum, and a zinnia, a white zinnia there, looking beautiful. Yeah, just a lot of exciting things. And I see there's some poppies in here, and there's some calendula that I can see. And there's a little purple flower over here too that I wonder what that is, but it looks pretty. So I hope there's more of it in there. But yeah. This area's looking okay. There's still a lot of weeds that need to be taken care of, but you know what? It's a day at a time. It can get overwhelming if I try and do it all at once. But yeah, everything's so green and it's so warm today. Not like super like crazy warm, but it's like a nice warm day. And then our little hosta back here, it's looking great. Still got that little bloom. He's getting a nice little bit of sun right there. So I'm hopeful for that one. And then these hostas back here are looking very good. These are the ones that were already here when we moved in. They seem to really love this spot on the side of the house. There's a bunch of blooms. And this gorgeous plant too. I love the ground cover here, but there's just, again, there's a ton of weeds. My garden is not perfect, but I kind of like the imperfection of it. And whenever I like kind of knock down the taller weeds, it like instantly gives it a facelift. So, and then, oh my gosh, look, I hadn't even noticed until today. The hydrangea's starting to bloom. Whew. So glad I took the time to get in here and deadhead this year, because it's looking very healthy. It's a little overgrown over our path, so I think we need to be trimming this boxwood, kind of trimming this, not hydrangea, this rhododendron here. I kind of want to trim it down too. I don't want it to get like, you know, like those coastal hydrangeas that get like the size of a house. Like, I don't think that this area can handle that, so I want to take care of this, but it does bloom every year for us, and it has beautiful white blooms. There's still a few on there. Right there. And it really likes this spot too, so nice. And I'm so excited for the hydrangeas here. There's a lot of blooms on them, I can see it, and I'm very excited. I don't know how many times, take a shot every time I've said excited in this video. All the poppies around this area are spent, so I need to do a little bit of cleanup, deadheading, rip out as much grass as I can, cut down all of the greenery for the poppies. But yeah, this area is a problem for me. And it looks so overwhelming, so that's why I avoid it, and then it gets even worse. So I don't know. I just wish something like a beautiful ground cover would come in and just like take over, so that the grass would get choked out. But I think grass does the choking out, not ground cover. And then last but not least, we're back on the patio, and this clematis has started flowering, and it's a different light purple, and I love it. It's just so beautiful, and I love that it grows up this little trellis that's hooked to the arbor. The wisteria is looking nice and bushy. These lilies are about to bloom in a week, probably a few weeks. And then there's another clematis here that you can't really see, but it's kind of gone wild. And then part of it is wisteria leaves. So we're going to need to like keep an eye on this. Like this trailer is trying to like get to the house, so we need to trim that off, or kind of train it over the arbor, see what it can do there. But yeah, just, I kind of love that it's so wild. Let me see. There we go. But everything's looking so green. My lupin. This is the one that I need to plant, and I think I'm just going to plant it over there by my rosemary and my chives, to see how it does. And then I got this garlic from my dad's. There's a lot of corms that I need to take off, and then I just need to chop off these stalks and put them inside so we can use them. And then the corms, hopefully I can just, I would love to replant them out in the garden, but we're redoing our beds because the wood around them is kind of rotting. So I don't know if I want to like put them in there, if we're just gonna like rip it out. So that's my dilemma. I wonder if I can store them. I think I could. I think I'm going to look that up, and maybe I can store some for when, and maybe I can find a different spot in the yard to plant them. Who knows? But yeah, these need to be moved from the spot. They've been here for like 2 weeks now, so hopefully they'll. I know they're still good to use, but it looks like they're even blooming, even though they're out of the ground. And these are really, they're delicious, the little flowers. Like they would be perfect for a salad, because it's, well, actually it's kind of a harsh garlic taste. All right, here I am back in the shade, and that's going to do it for the June 2023 garden tour. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you love seeing the progress that my garden is making. I know I love it, and I love that I am going to have these like visual diaries of my garden to look back on for years to come. But if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, because it really supports my channel. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you want to turn on notifications so you'll know every time that I upload, which right now is every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, I would love it if you would do that. And yeah, I hope you had a lovely June, and I can't wait to show what happens in July in this garden with you. I think my gardening content for July is going to be a lot of like yard cleanup, like how I'm maintaining my spaces and everything. But hopefully some fun projects will come up, and then I can share those with you as well. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.